Welcome to the SuperNova podcast. My name is Jannes. I will be your host for today, and I'm joined in this session by Jan from Worx.
Morning.
Welcome, Jan. Can you maybe for our viewers explain in a few sentences who you are and what you do at Worx?
Yeah, Jan Laurijssen, 53, working for 15 years for Worx. I got 3 hats actually on a daily basis. I'm the HR evangelist, the public speaker for the company, talking about the future of work and HR in all the countries where we are present. I'm a researcher at the University of Antwerp, also coordinating the research that we do with the Antwerp Management School. And occasionally I do some consultancy, some advisory work for our clients if necessary, if needed.
Okay. What struck me the most from that lineup was the title HR evangelist.
Yes.
What does that entail?
I didn't choose that myself. It was given to me by our strategy director. Basically, it means that it is my job to talk about HR, payroll, time in general, from a research point of view, evidence-based, and to inspire our customers, inspire people in HR about what's happening or what's about to happen in the world of HR. Tackling new themes, interesting things that we are capturing, evolutions in the labor market, and to, basically tickle people's brain and to have an interesting conversation of where HR is going, like we will be doing this afternoon.
And hopefully now as well, because I'm already intrigued about where it's going. Maybe to set the scene a little bit more, you studied educational psychology, if I'm not mistaken. How does that background help you in HR and your current role?
Yeah, educational psychology brought me from the field of social profit into the world of e-learning, and from e-learning to learning and development, from learning and development to HR. So basically, I rolled into it. It happened, more or less. Maybe the thing that's running through all of it is learning and development of myself. So important topic, but also sharing ideas on how the importance is of learning and development with HR managers, with people, with managers, especially also in the era of AI, that learning and development is key for your personal and career development at this time. Yes.
Okay. I read somewhere that your motto is "In case of doubt, jump." Or you said that?
I did say that. And that was in the context of my own career. I think that if you're open to opportunities, career opportunities, they might occur when you don't expect them. They might be half clear, they might be whatever. So you can do a lot of analysis, you can do a lot of thinking about it, you should talk about it with other people. But in the end, it's also about gut feeling and just jumping, going for it. And that can turn out well, and that also turn out not too well sometimes. But anyways, it's a learning process. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Well, it fits right in the theme of reinventing yourself here at SuperNova too. Maybe to zoom in on SuperNova, you're giving a talk later about HR, either the necessary evil or strategic advantage. Why do you think it's that dichotomy between necessary evil or advantage? How do you think it's shaped like that?
Well, I don't think it's a dichotomy, but it's a provocative statement to actually address the idea of what is HR in this day and age, especially when we're talking about reinventing business models and so on, scaling businesses, startup businesses. What does HR mean in that context when you're starting up a business? When we have a legacy of 50 years in HR, research and practice and so on. So what do we do then? So we want to literally look at what did we do and what are we doing at the moment. And for that particular occasion, I'm joined by the VP HR of LegalFly, Stefan Arijn. And we will have that talk like, how is he setting up an HR function for a fast-growing organization as LegalFly? He has also long-standing, like I do. So look who's talking. We have both quite some experience in HR, different fields. And we're just observing like what is happening, what happened, what is happening now, and what will be happening to HR. What are the lessons that we can draw from how startups, scale-up companies are setting up an HR function?
Okay, that sounds very interesting.
It does.
I'll try to attend if I'm not here in the studio. You mentioned AI here briefly on the sofa before, and I saw online that you say that AI is a co-pilot for people, not a replacement.
Yeah.
how does that look for the regular people in your office or that you're managing?
Yeah.
What's your view on that?
I think that if we look at research, both industry research, academic research, policy research, more and more evidence shows that there are tasks that will be automated by AI. There are definitely job tasks that will remain very much human, but there are a lot of tasks that will be augmented by AI, and where the co-working, the co-piloting, the co-working with any AI tool is going to give us a new idea on how we work, on how we design work and jobs, and how also we have to train and help people to work with those tools in order to be more productive, to be faster, to whatever. So productivity is the new name of the game, much more, I think, than efficiency is. Of course, there will be efficiency gains and automations, one that makes clear. But I think in terms of making jobs more interesting and making people work with the AI to do a better job on a daily basis is actually a very challenging and interesting way of looking at what is happening. And also thinking about what is the role of HR and leadership in making that happen when technology is driving the business case. So that's basically what I'm thinking about. And I think for the moment the glass is more full than it's empty.
Okay.
And that there are loads of opportunities to actually facilitate this and make people's lives and jobs more interesting.
Okay, you say that, and I tend to agree from a gut feeling.
Yeah.
But why do you say that you think the glass is more full than it is empty?
Because I think that as opposed to former narrative said, lots of jobs will be destroyed and so on and so on. Yes, there will be some jobs will be lost. New jobs will be created. As far as we can tell for the moment, if we look at some Belgian research, other research organizations, the net result is positive. That brings about another challenge, is that the people that lose their jobs because of AI are very unlikely to get a new job in AI. So there are loads of opportunities for learning and development and career transition support to make people grow towards new jobs, to use their experience to find new challenges, and to move, for instance, from software development to data science. Those kinds of pathways are, I think, very interesting for a lot of people. But of course, if you've been doing the same thing for a long time, that's going to be a huge change. And again, HR needs to step in to find ways to make that individual transformation possible, or necessary, possible, or facilitate the opportunity to engage people in that.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that AI is shifting the market, but there's a net positive result.
Yeah.
And the role of HR can be to make sure that people transition into new roles, take up new responsibilities, and are able to profit from those new jobs that are being created instead of being left out.
Yeah, I think that's the individual, the employee side of things. But also from an organizational point of view, I think it is really important that HR gets implied in technology implementation to facilitate adoption. We need to engage, like I said, with learning initiatives. That doesn't have to be classroom training. That can be ambassadors. It can be team learning, peer learning, whatever. But also supporting leaders in understanding how this new relationship between a person, a worker, and the AI is going to work in the work context. How are we going to set KPIs, goals in this new setting? So things are changing for everybody, and making that commensurate investment between technology, leadership, learning /HR is going to be one of the most important challenges that we're facing for the upcoming years.
Okay, and it seems that you think that HR is uniquely positioned to be the bridge between the business logic and the human capital, and make sure that everything
the business
is
logic,
connected.
the tech logic, and there are humans still at play. So there are, of course, also organizations in logistics where you have fully automated warehousing and so on and so on. But anyways, in a lot of places, in a lot of jobs, in a lot of businesses, people will be working with technology, not entirely replaced by technology. So yes, there is human resources to make actually sure that it happens in a way that it's productive for everybody. Also from an organizational point of view, if we do these investments, and I'm convinced that we have to do those and look at AI as value creator and so on, which I also talked about before, we need to make sure that we can secure that added value by also investing in the people and the leadership to make that happen.
Yeah, so AI will take some of the predictive work or like the more mundane work and will assist in a lot of other stuff, then what will we need to invest in from the human side to keep it working like that? You mentioned the investing. What exactly should we focus on?
Yeah,
then?
I think that, funny enough, and maybe counterintuitive, if you look at, for instance, the skills of the future that the World Economic Forum is predicting and talking about, 7 out of 10 are human skills. So we're thinking about communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and so it's in the interaction with the tools again that we will be called upon to use superhuman skills to look at what has the AI produced. Does that seem logical? If we used prompting, code prompting, whatever comes out of it, are we going to do quality control? How can we work together with an interface of AI to a better job? So the human relationship, the typical work relationship that was there is a task that needs to be performed by a human, is now going to be facilitated to some extent by AI. Also on a team level, that means like, how are we going to do that? How are we make sure that everybody uses the tools for what they are meant for and for what we want them to be used for in terms of goals and KPIs and so on? Much of those things are human things. We talk about overcoming resistance. We talk about positivity. We talk about feedback, collaborating, sharing knowledge, peer feedback, peer coaching. All those things will come into play in the workplace. And that is, I think, the most important challenge for managers, team leaders, leaders in general, is that this is going to happen in real time. And it will not suffice to get people out of the room and train them for 2 days, get them back in and they are cured and they can do it. We're going to have to support this and follow up on this on a daily basis. In hybrid settings where some people are working from home, some people are working from abroad, some are in the office, that is the new world that managers will face, where people, agents, will be working together in real time on tasks that in the past were performed by people only.
Okay. Sounds like quite a challenge, but it also sounds like you're quite sure on how we should start tackling it at least.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm just basing my insights on what we know today. I think the biggest challenge is actually in HR itself, where also HR needs to incorporate these new insights, learn what it is, understand what the business is doing. If we're doing code prompting in software development, what does that mean? How can we support the business? What is it that we need to understand about these tools? How can we support people? How can we support leaders? So, like we said decades ago, when I was younger, a better environment starts with yourself. HR needs to do some cleaning itself as well, and get educated about what's happening in the business, understanding what the tech is doing, and getting back to what is a job? How do we design a job? How do we support managers? This is crucial for actually achieving those goals, those productivity goals, leading to success of an organization.
Okay. You mentioned that AI is a value creator, but you've also used that term in relation to the new HR roles, alongside experience shaper and stuff like that, which ties in neatly with reinventing yourself, the theme here, but also as HR. How will that improve or change an everyday employee's life, the way that HR is reinventing itself and taking up new roles?
Well, first, I think it's an organizational change, so HR needs to do that on a daily basis. I would hope very much in the future people feel supported and enabled, finding their way in those new jobs, using technology to achieve their goals on a daily basis, because we've made it so easy for people. We've created an employee experience that is both very technical based, technology supported and enabled, AI enabled at this time, but also very much people supported, where we can still reach out to people also if we need to, if we can, to get that support that we actually want and need. So it's a hand-in-hand story where technology and people will make sure that in that new enabled workplace, we can do the stuff that is necessary. So it's a tech solution and a human. It's very much superhuman and super digital at the same time, actually.
Okay, that's very clear, actually. Thank you. Giving all the upskilling, learning, development, changing roles, you can say that the classic 35, 40-year career ladder is gone, where you just started a job, you keep on moving up the ladder. what's it being replaced by? How do you see a career path evolving for young professionals who are starting today?
Yeah, I think that you're right, but this already happened like 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
So doing your job for the rest of your life for one employer, I think that's an idea that most of the organizations and employers already left 15 to 20 years ago. But definitely, I think that AI is, again, like automation, digitization, the internet are accelerators. That means that we have to very much think about how people are building experience and where experience and technology, again, are intertwined. So that means that we might find that it's maybe hard or not evident to hire young people right out of school because they have no experience. At the same time, they are the best candidate to join because they have experience with AI. They probably wrote their thesis with AI. If they're in software development, they've probably been playing around with all sorts of tools during their studies. So we need to change also, especially when we're talking about people, young professionals. We need to think about, okay, so we're going to have to change the onboarding process to get to know how it works, but they bring something along that we have not had before, so they actually know how it works. We're going to, again, have to redefine that job design. So taking the time for young people to onboard for 3 years to learn the job, that's going to go faster, that's going to work faster, and we're going to have to find new ways to make that happen. Because AI, for lawyers, for accountants, for anyone, is going to change, for software development, is changing the game. So we have to rethink the job design, and the way that we onboard people to learn to do the job on a daily basis. And I don't think that we have found the answer yet. There's probably also not a general answer. But again, if we look at, it's going to happen in the workplace. So workplace learning, AI-enabled workplace learning, supporting each other, finding out how that work, easy access to content to get your answers to your questions, but also people to reach out that can help you. That's going to be a setup that's going to be, I think, can be potentially very successful in the onboarding of people and getting to know the job. Because like you said, a career for life, a job for life, it has not existed for a long time, but we're going to transition from one role into another faster probably as well. The way it's turning out now, the way that AI is changing software development, we're going to have to rethink that at all. So like, you don't start and learn a development language or whatever. No, we're going to have to find other ways to do that. So, and then what is the next stage and how do you transition? And by the way, what is a function? What's a function description anymore? Those are the things that we're going to have to find out.
Okay. And now I zoomed in on the young professionals, maybe from a bias from me as well. Do you have any insights on how that's shaping people are maybe halfway up the ladder or further along in their career? Is it a challenge too, or?
I think that there, like I said, every job, every occupation is exposed to AI to some extent, and that doesn't take into account age. It's about the job tasks that you're doing on a daily basis and the extent to which they are exposed to AI. I also think that we should not think too much about generational differences. There is little evidence that generations as such differ. But of course, it's very likely that depending on your age, I'm 53, my oldest daughter is 23, the chances that she's been exposed to AI way more and is using it way more than I do is very likely. Right? So, but then again, I'm not prototypical for my generation. There are people in my circle of friends that are way ahead in what is happening. So the differences, the inter-individual differences are very big. Don't necessarily have something to do with your generation, but with your personal interest, with the environment where you're working, the organization that you're employed by, what you think is important, your personal interests in your free time, in your leisure time, all define the way to the extent to which you are diving into the possibilities of AI. And there, in an organizational context, in a work context, we're going to have to find ways to get everybody up to a certain speed, a level of proficiency to actually make that happen. So there is, like many things that are adoption of technology related, we cannot leave anyone behind. There is no way of leaving people behind, because also in a very tight labor market, we're going to need everybody who wants to do the job to do the job. On the positive side, if we get the AI to do it right, it will be personalized. It will be an agent that will also get to know you, Janus. And the agent will tell you maybe at a certain point, you've been working for very concentrated for 90 minutes. It's about time you take a break. So in the relationship between the tech and the people, we might even find benefits to make sure that everybody can keep up with the work, that we can even reduce absenteeism, burnout, whatever, because we're just doing smarter work instead of harder work. That is going to be a big challenge. So for the moment, there's a lot of talk about cognitive offloading. So getting the stuff that is off. We're not sure how that's going. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but it means also that the high cognitive strain is going to be kept very much. So we're going to have to find a balance between those two. So I don't know who said it recently, but it was someone at the OECD that said, well, AI is going to intensify jobs. So we're going to have to find the balance between intensifying and offloading.
So AI is taking like the low effort stuff. So what remains is very, the things that only you can do, where you need all your experience and all your brain power for. So it's finding a balance, and you can't just put. Right now, if I speak for myself, a day of 8 hours of work is a lot of switching between high intensity stuff and low intensity stuff. If there's only high intensity stuff that remains, it's more a matter of balance in finding or measuring your day that way.
Well, because you do the different things, like you said, also makes you get through the day and do the 8 hours. So if you compare that to athletes, right? That's exactly what athletes do. They peak, they train, they rest, and so on. There's a plan. You cannot peak all the time. We've known this for a long time. It's also already a book, I think 25 years ago, The Corporate Athlete. We have to find a balance in doing the work. And so just offloading a lot of things to AI, I don't think it's going to do the trick entirely.
Okay, so now it's clicking for me as well when you said we don't need to be more efficient, we need to be more productive in the long run, because that's the thing about balance. Efficiency does not guarantee productivity if there's no balance.
Well, efficiency is usually expressed in time gains or cost gains, cost reductions. That is fine. That's also what an organization needs. But in the end, if you can increase productivity over time, gradually, constantly, I think that adds very much, and then we are again at the value creator, that adds very much to the value that an organization can create.
Okay. You talk all about learning, unlearning, relearning. How do you personally keep up without facing burnouts or overwhelm or too much intensity in a job?
I'm think first of all, I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do, so I can learn. Learning is part of my job. Learning and sharing that learning with audiences, with clients. I think that it has a lot to do also with, like I said, the job design. That gives me quite some autonomy and responsibility to organize my time and to see what is important, what is not important, to define goals that are achievable, to find the necessary resources to get that through. And that's the job. And on the personal level, you need to find in your leisure time also some opportunities to let steam off. So over COVID, I picked up running. I already was very keen outdoor swimmer. So I picked up running, and it's something of, a ritual now to at least run 2, possibly 3 times a week, do some outdoor swimming to keep up, focus also on a balanced time with some theater, a movie, some reading. I think everybody needs to find it. So on a work level, that means very much being able to be in control very much of what I do on a daily basis, collaborating with lovely people across Europe, and finding that balance between what is it that I do have to do, what is it that I like to do. But that's also something that you would know, not say yes to everything.
But a lot of things, because it's fun. Maybe to zoom in, you said that you have the chance to do research for your job as well. Can you maybe share a bit about your research or how it shapes up and what influence it has
Yeah, I
on
think
your job?
one of the first things that I have to mention is that we've been working with the Antwerp Management School for over 15 years. We support the chair on next generation work and sustainable careers for 15 years. That's Professor Ans de Vos, who actually does a lot of research for us on those particular careers and how they are changing over time. So that's something that we've been doing for a long time and that I got involved in like 10 years ago, something. That is very valuable because it is research that we share with clients. It is very much also practice oriented. So yes, so that's part of who we are, part of it, the job and the DNA. I started my own research just purely out of interest. Like how does that work? How do organizations compose their workforce? Why do they work with freelancers, with consultants? As a personal learning path. We got involved with a big EU-funded project called Seismic with the Erasmus University of Rotterdam on how AI is changing the world of work of blue-collar workers in production.
Okay.
So it's something that crossed my path, caught my attention, and that I've been very much passionate about ever since.
Okay, very cool. Are there insights you can share? Things you've already, proven or discovered with enough confidence that they're already influencing work with your clients and stuff?
I think that first of all, the work that we're doing with Erasmus is very much focused on those blue collar workers. So that has given me also the insight that when we talk about AI, and a lot of people will be talking about AI in an industrial setting, that might be something very different than in a service setting.
Yeah.
So we have to find different ways. We're not talking Gen AI there. It's industrial applications of AI, but very much in work instructions and so on. So that's very different. The work that we've been doing with Ans de Vos over the past years on careers has also shown me, and is still evolving, that the context is very much shaping on how careers evolve. But also people are more and more making conscious choices about what they think is important in their career, not only in terms of the type of job, but also in the number of hours that they want to work, where they want to work, the conditions under which, the extent to which hybrid work is important, and so on. For my personal work, the PhD project that I started a number of years ago has put me on the path of strategic workforce planning. And that has been, been there for quite a while, but is now actually very much been powered ahead by, again, the advent of AI. So organizations thinking on 5 years ahead, what is it that we're going to need in terms of workforce in 5 years' time? What is it that agents will change to our work? What are the efficiencies? What type of people will we need? How is it going to change the way that we work? How do we look at productivity? But so the long term of HR strategy, like who are the people that we will be needing? What are the tasks that they still will be doing? What are the tasks that AI will be doing? So again, that AI exposure story. And how can we organize to make that happen in a labor market that is very tight? Because it's not like there's an abundance of talent around. You can hire anyone. It's still a very tight labor market. We have a little downturn now, especially with the younger people, the young professionals. But in general, there's still loads of jobs open, quite some vacancies in the market.
Okay. To round up, like when you eventually, in a number of years, retire, what's one question you would like to have answered by then? One problem you'd like to have solved? So something that you can, that keeps you up right now that you can let go when you eventually take a step back.
Yeah, what you probably read, because you did an excellent job in pre-researching this, is that the main question from my own research is, why do organizations organize work as they do? It's not at all clear that all the decisions that are being made on how we organize work and how we organize HR are taken consciously. So I would very much like to find answers that are very much evidence and data driven to make better decisions on the people side of the business.
Okay.
And so that we can come to clear-cut ideas about why do we choose to employ someone, why do we have a freelancer, that there is evidence to support that. There are different reasons. We know from research there's cost, there's competence, capacity. But can we build evidence-supported scenarios to help organizations do a better job there? That
Okay.
would be lovely.
That's very clear. Okay, thank you very much for sharing your insights, giving me a preview of your talk already a little bit, and just sharing your research and enlightening us on the perspective of the future of work. I hope you have a great talk later this afternoon, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Janus.